How are you, my fans, sneak peepers, and curious friends? I am difficult and demanding. If you want to know my real name, then hold still, and I might bring your wish to fruition. Before we begin, you can find this podcast show in iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Blueberry, Google Play Music, TuneIn, YouTube, and Stitcher. Now, unlike the other people in your life, I actually care about what you think. So meet me halfway, take a tiny moment, and give my podcast and each episode a review rating. This is the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast, keeping it real, uncensored, and shooting straight between the eyes. The third eye, that is. I am going to hit you with explicit truth. This solo show is outrageously honest and keenly witty with a view into life. Yes, I said life. That's what we do every day when we wake up from sleeping. We are living life. Well, some of us at least. Moreover, I hope to provide you with gut-wrenching laughter and a touch of wisdom. Let's get something straight. Really, really straight. I am truly, actually, habitually, and shamelessly difficult and demanding, and I completely own it. Now, I don't ask for much because I expect and receive it all. I firmly believe that if you expect shit, you will receive shit. What does that mean? Well, it means expect nothing but the best and don't settle for less. As always, I, your host Tara, am keeping it real and uncensored. Your wait is finally over. So as usual, I want you to unplug from your life and dive all into episode 51 of the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast. Is love difficult? Or is loving a particular person difficult? You take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back, each and every time. How do you get through to this person? Or will you always fall short? Why are you so lonely? You have so many people around you, and you're still unfulfilled. You want that deep connection, don't you? You yearn for that intensity. Well, keep listening, and I'll tell you how to get it. Before I begin, I am going to do a call out. What's a call out? Well, it's not a shout out. I am calling out you motherfucking lurkers. If you have entered my world, then be honest with yourself about it. You want to be here, and you know I want you here, so follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Finally, climb aboard and enjoy the entire show, because I am giving you plenty of ridiculous honesty. Once the podcast episode ends, I am keeping it going on my Instagram page at Difficult and Demanding and on my Twitter page at Mrs. D&D. Is love difficult? Yes, is love difficult? Or is loving a particular person difficult? I got right to the point, didn't I? But I'm really looking for an answer. Do you think that love is difficult? Or is loving a particular person difficult? And you're probably trying to figure out what's the distinction. Well, the distinction is love in general. Do you find it difficult? Or is loving a particular person what is causing the strife and agony in your life? Which one is it? Is your frustration growing to the point of no return? Because if you're getting frustrated and it's growing, you really need to understand, is it love for you, period? Or is it loving this person that is hard for you? Because if it's this person, then that requires one set of tools or solutions. But if you're having a difficult time with love in general, then that's a whole nother path in itself. So I'm going to ask you again, is love difficult? Or is loving a particular person difficult? Because if your frustration's growing, you really need to understand why. Because you've tried and you have tried, but you can't get through. But what are you trying to get through to? Is it the person? Or is your ability to love, period? But let's just say it's a person. Because the two can actually go hand in hand. If you're having difficulty loving in general, then naturally you're going to be attracted to difficult people to love. Because if you have a different outlook on love itself, then the people you would attract would also be slightly different. Do you understand? So you're trying to get through to this person, and you can't get through because of their guard. Their guard seems to lessen on one hand, but then it goes right back up even higher. How is it that you fell in love with someone who has such a high guard, who brings it down a little bit for a small moment in time, and then they bring it right back up? How could they do that to you? Can't they see, don't they know how you truly feel? Don't they see that you're here with your arms and your heart wide open? Why are they depriving you? The harder you try, the quicker the walls go up and the higher they go up. You've told them over and over again how much you love them. Why is that not sufficient? What is the issue? What more could this person actually need? You're giving them any and everything you can think of, consistently and persistently. And they give you glimmer moments of hope by bringing their walls down. And you think, yes, it's finally working. But as soon as you start to relax and bask in your glory of bringing their walls down, they go right back up even higher. So you tell them more how much you love them. You show them more how much you love them. And why can't they just get the shit, right? Why can't they get it? Why do you have to be frustrated? Why do you have to work so hard? Why do you have to hit your head up against these walls that they have? Why can't they just open up fully? What more do they expect from you? How much more of yourself do you need to prove? Why do you have to prove yourself? They chose to be in the relationship with you, right? You didn't hold them hostage. They came to you, they engaged with you, they did enough to get you to fall in love. So why are we having all these issues now? Why are there's such a wall, a cold front between the two of you, when you both say you love each other? And all you're wondering is if I can get them to see that it's okay, that it'll all be okay. And they don't have to worry anymore. They don't have to fear because I'm different. I'm not like the others. Can't they see that? Can't they understand that? Or am I just not good enough? What is it? You take 2 steps forward with this person and then you end up 5 steps back. How long can you continue like this? Huh? You're running out of time. They're running out of time. Your relationship's running out of time because it's so tiring. Why do you feel like you constantly have to prove yourself? I mean, shit, they're lucky you're even here, right? That's how you're feeling. You didn't think it would go on this long. You didn't think it was going to be this hard. Did you? No. You tried every trick in your bag and up your sleeves and actually asked for advice. And nothing lasts long enough to keep those walls down. So like I said, what you're thinking, they are lucky that you're even here. I mean, who wants to deal with this shit, right? Eventually you get to that point, don't you? So now you've had your little meltdown. And now you're going to hide how you truly, truly feel as far as being frustrated with loving this difficult person. So now you are going to put on your happy face, because if you show them, tell them how you truly feel, their walls may get thicker. Their walls may go up higher. And all your work and effort to this date will cease to be of importance, right? So you cannot show them, you cannot tell them how you truly feel. But here's the funny part you're missing. Difficult people to love, they know when you're being genuine on a subconscious level. They know when you're not being honest and forthright, which is why the walls go up. Authenticity is not picture perfect pretty all the time. And difficult people know that. They may not be able to articulate that, but I can guarantee you they know that shit, which is why their walls go back up. You take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back, because they can sense when you're pretending. They can sense when you're not being forthright and honest, because they know difficult people. They know they're difficult. And they know when someone's being genuine, they will actually show their frustration with this person's level of being difficult. And while you are painting on your happy fraud face, they, on another level, are knowing that you're not being genuine about your feelings and what you think. So their wall goes up. And where their walls are going up, you're constantly thinking, why can't they just put on a happy face like me? Yes, put on a happy face. It's easy just to plaster it on and go through pretending and being fraud. But that doesn't work with difficult people. Right? You think if everyone showed how they felt, how they feel, what would the world be like? What would the world be like if everyone were real, authentic? So no, you paint on your happy face and you're confused as to why you can't get through to this difficult person. I mean, shit, in your point of view, no one would have any friends at all if you didn't put on a happy face and put on being the pretend you. Expectations, standards, disappointment, betrayal. These are some of the things that happen in life. And you feel, hey, we can't dwell. Put on your happy face and keep it moving. Right? Put on your happy face and keep moving. But how is that loving? And how is that loving a difficult person? So you want to know why you are struggling with loving a difficult lover? You want to know what's your real issue? Why you can't seem to get through? Difficult people require a certain level of realness that most people, they don't want to deal with that shit, because they want to paint on a goddamn happy face and upload the perfect picture on Instagram or whatever social media platform that you're using. Yes. You're questioning how and why you got into a relationship with a difficult person. You got into a relationship with a difficult person because you actually wanted to deal with someone who was quite real, authentic, genuine, raw. There was no fraud. There was no pretending. You knew exactly what the fuck was up, because that's typically how difficult people are. They're generally to the point. And you found that refreshing. It is refreshing when you're so busy painting on your motherfucking happy faces and pretending. Yeah, you get more than inclined to get attracted to a difficult person. So what is a difficult person? A difficult person is someone who does not go with the flow. They're not someone who wants to follow the crowd. They're not someone who wants to appease people just because they can. They're not here to please anyone. They're here to make it clear and get what they want met, get what their needs fulfilled. Difficult people will not tell you what the fuck you want to hear. Difficult people will not show you what the fuck you want to see. Yeah. Which is why it makes them difficult, because you're used to this mindless chit chatter engaging with people. But with a difficult person, no, they're going to cut straight to they're going to get right to the point. They're going to cut to the bone. They're going to get to it. And it makes people very uncomfortable. The forthrightedness of a difficult person. Difficult people make you feel uncomfortable. Difficult people make you feel insecure. Difficult people make you ponder, make you wonder what is not. They will cause you to question yourself and look at yourself in a different lens and light. Like I said, difficult people are not here to make you feel comfortable and happy. They're here to cut to the chase and get to the matter or the heart of the matter. But people don't like to do that because difficult people will beat the bush while most of you motherfuckers will dance around the bush. Did you hear what I said? Difficult people are more than inclined to beat the bush instead of dancing or beating around the bush. And people don't like that level of honesty. They don't like that level of honesty at all. So why are they hard to love? Difficult people are hard to love when you yourself are being fraud. You're not being genuine. When you're painting on happy faces and you don't know how to articulate what exactly it is that you need or want. Difficult people are also hard to love because they have expectations. They have real expectations. So if you ask them what that shit is, they will lay it out for you clearly. But most people, they can't do the job. They want the perks, but they can't do the motherfucking job. And you see, with a difficult person, if you are engaging, interacting with them and you commit to something, you got to deliver on that shit, because you don't deliver on that shit, you're going to have a problem. Who wants a problem with a difficult person? I know I don't. And I'm one of the most difficult people you can find. So why are they hard to love? Because they are real. They are raw. They make no excuses. They have no shame. They have no regrets. It is what it is. They don't pussyfoot. They don't half-ass. And most people can't talk their way out of a situation with a difficult person. Most people think you're slick and you can outmaneuver and out-talk people to get things done. But with a difficult person, no, they dig their motherfucking heels in until they get what they expect or what they need. And people don't like to work that fucking hard. Why would you want to work that hard when you got mindless chit chatter talking about nothing and everything at the same damn time? They're hard to love because they give you discomfort. They are hard to love because it calls you to take a look at yourself and question your values and your belief system. Difficult people make other people uncomfortable and insecure, and that is people's problems. Are there different types of difficult people? Yes. Yes, there is. And I like to group them in two categories. People who know what the fuck they want and people who don't know what the fuck they want. If you are a difficult person and you don't know what the fuck you want and you're all over the place, oh, you make life very difficult for others. They're neither here nor there. They're never right. They're always wrong. They can't be wrong because they're right. Everything is all over the place. It's topsy-turvy. But the difficult people that I like are the people who know what the fuck they want. They can articulate that. They can share that. And when that's laid the hell out, it makes people's lives and jobs much more easier. There's no second guessing. There's no extracting information. You see what it is and you just deliver on their expectations. Because when you deliver on expectations for a difficult person, they become less difficult and they become more happy. Do you understand? It's when you're half-assing and you're not doing what you say you're going to do that a person becomes extremely difficult. And if you don't like it and you don't want it, then you want to deal with difficult people who know what the fuck they want and articulate that. And when you deliver, they'll be happy, and more relaxed. So how do you love a difficult person? I just told you. You ask them what they need. You ask them what they want. You witness it and you work to your utmost ability to deliver it consistently and persistently. If you try to half-ass or shortchange a difficult person, they will get more difficult on you. So if you have a severe aversion to difficult people, then I suggest you figure out what kind of difficult person you're dealing with And then if it's the person who knows what the fuck they want, ask them and try to deliver. If you cannot deliver, you need to not sign up for some shit that you cannot deliver on, because that's called half-ass and pussyfooting, and that's called stacking yourself to lose. And you don't want to stack yourself to lose. So only commit to things that you can actually deliver on when it comes to difficult people. Because if you don't, they will turn their difficulty meter higher, higher, and higher. Can you get through to a difficult person? Yes, you can. You have to figure out their value system. You have to figure out what makes them tick. Because when you figure out what that is, then that gives you the keys to the goddamn kingdom. It gives you the ability to melt the walls down from a difficult lover or person. It gives you an opportunity to see the true them, the vulnerable them. Now keep in mind, with a difficult person, the walls will go back up eventually, but then you will have the way to get through to those walls and get a softer, kinder version. But you got to know the person you're dealing with. You have to know what's important to them, and you have to deliver your A game on that shit. Do you understand? What does a difficult person look for from another? They look for someone who can deliver, who doesn't make excuses, who doesn't half-pass, who doesn't justify, who doesn't pussyfoot. They deliver. Because that's when I get difficult. When you tell me you're going to do something, you don't do it, I get difficult. If you tell me you're going to do something and you do it, I calm the hell out. I chill the fuck out, and all is good. So figure out what type of difficult person you're dealing with. Learn what their value systems, what it is. Learn what makes them tick and work to give it to them in the most opportune way where you win and they win. But I don't believe difficult people are difficult. I just think they're people with real standards, unwavering standards. And a lot of us need to learn to step the fuck up to the plate so we can engage with certain types of people and make the most of it and not be looking side-faced and fucking bittered. How do you figure out why a person's difficult? Yeah, that's a tricky part. You have to ask them questions about their life, and you have to ascertain whether it's personally or professionally. And once you determine, you have to get them to open up and talk about themselves so you can see where they struggled and what helped contribute to who they are today. You got to do a little research. You got to become a detective, because once you find out why they are the way they are, you know that you have the antidote. You can figure out how to maneuver, manipulate the situation to get your needs met and get that difficult person chilling the fuck out. You understand? Will a difficult person always be difficult in general or with you? No, it depends on your behavior. It depends on how you act. It depends on what you do. Once you understand the person you're dealing with, then you can figure out how to open and close the gate, turn it on and off. But you got to do your work. You have to learn about the person and figure out who they are and learn how to navigate around them to get your needs met. Simple as that. Are there disadvantages and advantages to being a difficult person? Yes, because I think when people believe or know that you're a difficult person, they're less likely to want to approach you. They're less likely to be around you. They don't want to engage with you because of fear, of discomfort. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is the more difficult a person is, that means they have a bigger heart and a lot of emotion tied to it. But they hide behind their walls and being difficult to help them ground themselves, to keep a grip on reality. But if you can figure out a way to tap into that person and get beyond those walls, you will be opening yourself up to a wealth of feeling, love, and experience that's beyond belief. But to continue having that, you have to stay on your A game and deliver what is being asked. You can't be delivering things that the difficult person didn't ask for and expect them to be grateful and happy. No. You got to give them what they want and give them what they need. When you give them what they want and give them what they need, then they will blossom and be more inclined to give you what you want and what you need. But when we love people, we have a tendency to give them what we want them to have instead of giving them what they actually need and want. If you want to crack a difficult person, stop trying to give them what you would want to have and start giving them what the fuck they're asking for and deliver that. And keep delivering that. And when they see that you are consistent and persistent, those walls, those gates, they will open. But anytime you try to force a difficult person to have some shit that they don't want and what they didn't ask for, nope, you're stacking yourself up for fucking failure. And I don't believe in stacking myself for failure. You got to look, listen, and learn and apply that shit to get what you want. Difficult people are difficult for a reason. But behind those gates, behind that drawbridge, is a wealth of love and bliss if you know how to get to that shit. And I just told you how. You give them what they need. You give them what they ask for. You don't give them what the fuck you want, because you're not them and they're not you. That only works for you. And you are trying to figure out how to get through to that other person. So if you want to get through to them, listen carefully, watch, learn, and apply. So what's our fundamental issue with difficult people? Our fundamental issue with difficult people is this. They make us really, 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 really uncomfortable. They make us feel scared and insecure. They make us feel worrisome and anxious because you don't know what you need to do. But I told you what you need to do. You need to stop half-assing, pussyfooting, justifying, and making excuses, and figure out the value system of that difficult person you're in love with and deliver what they're asking for. Because when they see that you're ready, willing, and able to deliver what they're asking for, they will feel greater trust for you. And they will also want to go above and beyond for you because they see that you see past all this uncomfortableness, if that's a word that they create. You see past that. And you're still willing to love them and be with them. And they will notice that and appreciate you for that. And they will do for you in turn. So don't let feeling uncomfortable, feeling vulnerable or exposed, or running the possibility or risk of being rejected by a difficult person, don't run from that. You have to understand that that is just a gate that's protecting the vault of gold. And when you realize that there's a vault of gold that you have access to, you will become very creative and motivated and figure out how to crack that code of that difficult person you love. Every difficult person has a code, has a key to unlock that wealth of love within them. But you got to give them what they want and need and stop trying to give them what the fuck you want them to have. And when you do that, you will see your life unfold. You will see things change beyond your belief. Don't be with a difficult person if you are one that likes to half-ass, pussyfoot, make excuses and justification. Don't be with a difficult person if you are not in tune with yourself and get in tune with them to figure out how to crack their code. If you ask a difficult person, they will give you some very clear answers as far as how to navigate with them. But don't let their directness deter you from having the happiness you deserve. And you can have happiness with a difficult person. There's nothing wrong with being difficult. I think being difficult means you have standards, unwavering standards, and that is okay. But you got to up your A game when you're dealing with a difficult person, because they're not going to have any mercy. They're going to crush, kill, and destroy your ass for wasting their time and promising some shit that you never ever could deliver. So why you have a fundamental problem with difficult people? Because it causes you to work. It causes you to get out of your lazy zone and to deliver what is necessary or required, or you move the hell out of the way for someone else can do so. Do you understand? So this is all I have for the Coming to My World segment. Please stick around for something in the news. So as usual, this part of my segment is from something in the news. And the article that I read this time, it's called, "I'm Surrounded by People, but I Feel So Lonely." Yes, surrounded by people and still feel so lonely. What do you think about that? Does it hit home for some of you? I'm sure it does. But are you going to be honest about it? You don't need to be honest about it right now. You can keep it to yourself. But just so you know, you're not the only one who's surrounded by people and feel so lonely. So maybe by the time we are done with this portion, it can give you a lot more insight into you and your life. So this article says that this loneliness, it feels like a void. It's a feeling of emptiness inside. Yeah, emptiness inside. And for those of you who are pretending to be clueless, that emptiness, it feels like you are not fulfilled. You know how you have something that you eat and you love it so much, you enjoy it so much, it's fulfilling? Well, do you know what it's like when you have something to eat and you don't enjoy it as much? It hits the spot or does the job, but it doesn't leave you with that feeling of being elated. Yeah, elated, which means fulfilled. Well, this is what we're talking about, where you are functioning. You have people around you, yet you still don't feel comfortable, secure, and fulfilled. They say if you have a good piece of news or even a bad piece of news, it's not having that person to tell it about. Now, a number of us, we go through life having these meaningless chit-chatter types of conversation. It appears that we're happy. It appears that we're sharing information. It appears that we're connecting and we're engaging and we're sharing good news and bad news. But the funny thing about it, you can share every bit of information that you want to release about yourself, good or bad. And if you're not telling the right people, it feels like you never even talk to those people. How can you talk to people, share information with them, and you don't feel fulfilled? You don't feel like you connected. You don't feel whole. How is that? How is it that you share information about yourself, and when you come home or wherever you're going at the end of the day, you still feel depleted, if not even more? And you've shared all that you were willing to share, and you still don't feel right inside. This article says lacking those people in your life can be really, really hard. It is really hard. And I think it's hard for a number of us. A number of us are lonely in relationships. We're lonely in friendships. We're lonely at work. We look right. We act right. We speak right. But we're depleted. We're hollow inside. You have your social media accounts where you're connecting with people, all your friends on Facebook and people liking your photos on Instagram or whatever you're using. How is that not enough? How is it you're doing all these quote unquote right things and it's still not enough for you? And you add more and more and more, but you're still not right. Do you know why? Can you begin to even try to understand why you're doing all the right things that you're supposed to do in this day and age, and you're still having a very, very hard time feeling fulfilled and connected to another living human being? This 33-year-old woman who they spoke about in this article is a friendly, chatty person. She has everything going for her, but she's lonely. Yeah, she's lonely because she is missing the deeper connections in a relationship. Did you catch that key word, deeper? What is a deeper connection? Because a number of you are going through life and you have all your social media friends, you have your groups, people you hang out for work, you have all these people surrounded with you, by you. But you still feel lonely. How is that? How is it that you have all these people in your life and you don't have a deep connection? Huh? A connection that when you finish engaging with that person, whether it's 10, 15 minutes, an hour, that shit stays with you, huh? It stays with you so much that when you think about that person, it replenishes you. When you think about the sound of their voice, you think about their presence. For some of you, if you've touched a person, you can remember what they feel like, what they smell like. You can remember all that. Now you have all these people around you. And why don't you feel that connection, huh? Why don't you get that? Even when you touch some of these people with a hug, it does not hit the spot. How is it that it doesn't hit the spot for you? Have you wondered? I'm sure you have. Are you trying to make sense of it? I'm sure you are. But something's missing, isn't it? Well, guess what? That's why I'm here. I'm going to give you that piece of information as far as what is wrong. Yeah, I'm going to give it to you, but just not yet. This person said, I'm very good at being chatty. I can talk to anyone, but that does not mean I'm able to have those lasting relationships with people because you're conscious of not letting people get to know the real you, the quote unquote real you. Aha, now we're getting someplace, aren't we? The real you. Yeah, the real you. Do you know that person? Have you seen him or her lately? Have you ever met him or her? The real you. Do you even know where to begin to look for the real you? I'm sure it's reared its head every now and then, but you push that son of a bitch back down the ground, or you put it back in its coffin, or you lock it back in the closet. What are you scared of? Huh? What is it about the real you that has you running and trying to hide? You see, until you get to know you, the real you, you will never, ever, 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 ever be able to connect with anyone. You can pretend and have your fraud-based relationships, but I'm going to keep it real like I normally do with you. Until you let you out of the box, out of the closet, out of the coffin, you will never have a connection that is worthwhile. You will never have a connection that even if you are home alone by yourself, if you had a real connection, you would not feel lonely. You would feel like you had the world with you, surrounded around you, supporting you, protecting you, uplifting you, and nurturing you. That is when you have the real you. But when you have the fraud you, that's what I said. I said the fraud you, the fake you, the pretend you, the fictional you. You can't connect on that shit because people know it. Whether you know it or not, they know it's not the real you. Now, do they know consciously? No, they do not know consciously. But subconsciously, people know when others are genuine and or superficial. Do you understand? Because when a person is genuine, you feel it. There's a magnet. They draw you in, you draw them in, and that is when you connect. But when you're pretending, that means you're watered down, you're filtered, you're not potent, you're not powerful. You don't want to make people want to connect with you. So yes, you're having conversations, you're passing time, you're doing all the supposed right things. But my dear, that's not a deep connection. That is barely a connection at all. You're people who are passing in the wind like leaves. You're neither here nor there. So you go home at the end of your day and you recount all of the different people that you have encountered, that you have touched, supposedly laughed with, gave advice to, listened, befriended, judged, whatever. And you still feel like you never left the goddamn house and you never spoke to anyone. That's a fuck all life, wouldn't you agree? And what's even more fuck all is that the most important person in your life, which is the real you, you don't want to get to know that person. So you'd rather be alone, depleted, unfulfilled, and hollow inside than to turn around and get to know the real you. The real you holds the key to your happiness. The real you holds the key to your deeper connections. The real you holds the key of the life that you deserve, that you're worthy of, but you're not courageous enough to go get that shit. What do you think about that? Huh? What do you think about that? Oh, you don't like the fact that I said you're not courageous. Well, my love, if it is what it is, then guess what it is, what the fuck it is. What is it about the real you? You can't answer that question because you don't know who the fuck the real you, you don't know who you are. Why not go and explore? If you're taking the time to get to know all these new people that you meet every day and you have these whimsical, irrelevant type of conversations with, then why can't you take the time to act like you, the real you, is another person? Introduce yourself. Get to know yourself. Oh, you don't want to open that can of worms? Until you open those cans of worms, you will always feel lonely surrounded by people. It's very simple, yet complex. This article said that they conducted a survey. And the survey says that they can't tell where the lack of trust in others comes from. Yes, when you are unable to show the real you, fundamentally it comes down to trust. Our own individual trust in others. Why don't you trust other people, huh? What have you seen? What have you encountered? What have you endured that made you so untrustworthy of others? Huh? What kind of cruelty, rejection, neglect have you witnessed or encountered that you don't feel comfortable enough, courageous enough to put the real you out there? So you're protecting yourself, you're guarding yourself, but you're not really protecting yourself because you are basically holding yourself back from the life you truly, really want. You see, we have a tendency to look outside ourselves and say that we don't trust others. But let me tell you some let me tell you some extra real shit. It's not that you don't trust others. You don't trust your damn self. Think about that. You can't control the people outside of you. The only person you have the utmost control over, sometimes better than others, is yourself. So if you're focusing on the fact that you can't trust others and that is why you're not revealing the real you, well, partially that's true. But if you trusted yourself, whether you had the support of others or not, you would be okay. You would be more than okay. So why don't you trust yourself? Why can't you trust yourself with the most sacred part of who you are, which is the real you, the true you? What is it that you're scared of? You haven't been taught how to deal with the real you. Because when you tried to deal with the real you, you were told that you weren't good enough. You were told that that's not what one wants to see. You were told and taught to show people what they want to see and tell them what the fuck they want to hear. Well, when you do that long enough, the real you becomes tired and small and quiet and goes to a corner. And the fraud you takes the hell over. But you think the fraud you is there to help you. You think the fraud you is going to give you the life that you want. Because seemingly everyone around you is smiling and they're happy with you because you're catering to them and you're appeasing them. But while you're catering and appeasing all the people outside of you, every moment you appease another, you're slowly killing yourself off. And that void, that loneliness that you feel, it just grows and grows and grows. And for some of you, it's grown so big and so much, the loneliness, there's no way for you to escape it. You can't even begin to reverse the process because so much damage has been done. So much time has gone by that you have started to rewire yourself. It's not about the other people. It's about you. And if you can trust yourself to engage and get to know others, then you need to reapply that trust to getting to know yourself. Because when you get to know yourself, you will actually figure out that the motherfuckers you have around you are not the right people, which is why you don't have those deeper connections and the deeper relationships. They said chronic loneliness is tied to a higher sensitivity in regards to rejection. Yes, rejection. Why do we have a hard time dealing with rejection? Rejection is just a way of someone saying no to you. One person, 2 people, 10 people, 20 people, whatever. It's just their way of saying no to you because they don't vibe with you. They don't get you. They don't understand you, and they don't motherfucking care to do so. So why can't you handle that? Why don't you have the skills, the mental and emotional maturity to deal with the fact that someone says, hey, nice to see you, don't want to fucking know you. Listen to what the fuck I said. Why don't we have the mental and emotional maturity to deal with someone who says, hey, it's nice to see you, but I don't want to get to know you? Why is that an assault on our being? Why is it? You don't like everything you see. You don't like everything you hear. You don't like everything you touch. You don't like everything you feel. So why must everyone like you? Why must everyone embrace you? Why must everyone approve of everything you say, do, wear, think? Why? Why? None of those people are relevant. The only person that can give you the validation, the approval, the acceptance, the love that you need is you. Because if you can't give it to yourself, then you don't know what the fuck it looks like. And if you don't know what the fuck it looks like, you're going to keep choosing the wrong people to engage with. Which is why you are lonely. Which is why you are unfulfilled. Which is why you are wondering what in the hell is going on. I have all these people around me and I am not clicking and ticking with these son of a bitches. How can that be? We're laughing. We seem to be enjoying each other's company. But I still feel lonely with people around me. Now that shit makes no sense to me. Does that make sense to you? As I like to say, how does that sound? How does that seem? It doesn't sound or seem right to me. So I know that you're smarter than me. Now you're puzzled. You should be. Because you've been wasting a lot of time and energy in people, places, and things that's not doing a motherfucking thing for you or to you, except taking away your vital life force. You are working against yourself. You are depleting yourself. So technically that means that you are responsible for your loneliness. It's not another person's rejection. You want people to stop rejecting you, then you need to stop rejecting your damn self. Here's a nugget. That's a nugget of truth for you. If you are living life with a fraud-based fictional you, and you're not living life with the true you, the real rejection, the ultimate rejection, the absolute rejection is coming from you. You are the one who's rejecting you. You are the one who's ignoring you. And everyone you choose to have around you in your life is just imitating what the fuck you're doing to yourself. You don't like that, do you? It's okay. You don't have to. But the smart person that you are will realize what I'm saying is the truth. When you stop rejecting yourself, when you stop hiding and hindering yourself, then you open up a world of opportunity for the right people to gravitate toward you and to help you do what you're already doing for yourself. So if you're being loving and supportive, open and receptive toward you, then that is the vibe, that is the energy that you're going to give off. And when you give that off, it's going to signal to other people who are the same, and they will come to you. And your life will get better, bigger, better, bigger, happier, fulfilled, happier, fulfilled, happier, fulfilled. And those life force sucking motherfuckers that you were with originally, they will fall to the wayside. They will eventually disappear because you guys won't be vibing anymore, and you will be moving on to new and better things, including getting rid of your loneliness. Wouldn't you like that? I would like that for you. But back to rejection. I've told you how to get rid of the rejection in your life. Because if you don't get rid of the rejection in your life, you become a closed off person. Now, if you don't know, if you have an electrical socket that's closed off, you can't stick anything in there to turn it on and off. So if you are becoming a more and more closed off person, then what that means is that people cannot connect to you. Even if they wanted to or tried, they cannot connect to you because you are fraud. You are rejecting yourself. You have people around you who are not fulfilling, which in turn makes you more and more closed off, sealed off. Loneliness feels like a deep, deep ache. And for some of us, it's physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It depends on how long you've been rejecting yourself and being fraud. But it's a horrible feeling. And when you don't take care of it, when you identify it, it can manifest itself physically to create pain. Not just pain in your heart, pain all over your body. Because like I told you before, we as human beings, we have to connect. We have to feel and touch one another. That's a part of our well-being. So if you're not being the real you, and you don't have people around you that's helping you feed your soul and your being, you're closing yourself off. You're closing the channels to get yourself fulfilled on so many different levels. So how do you get companionship so close and intense? You want to know how? You unveil yourself. Yeah, I said unveil. Unveil yourself. The good, the not so good, the pretty, and the not so pretty. You lay that shit out there bare ass naked and see what takers you get. Now, the first taker you technically should get is yourself. Embrace all that you are. You're not meant to be perfect. All you got to do is be your best being. But when you lay yourself bare, it's quite scary and liberating at the same damn time. You don't have to think so much. You don't have to work so hard because it is what it is. And naturally, when people get to see the real you, then the real people can come around you. And that is how you guys connect and bond over the positive and not so positive in your life. But if you want a deep, intense, close connection, you got to be audacious. You got to be boss mode on that shit. You got to say, bam, bam, here it is. Lay that shit on the table. Now, what motherfucker do you want to do about it? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? If you can't handle it, get the fuck off my table. And the next son of a bitch, shut the fuck up. Can you handle this shit? Can you handle it? Yeah, I'm talking a little crazy. That's fine. You know, I'm into theatrics and drama. But the moral of the story is this. Put yourself out there. Expose yourself to you. Look very closely at you. Can't do a damn thing about you, but embrace you. And when you embrace you, others are going to embrace you. Because you're not cookie cutter. You are a unique being. And there's no one else out there like you. Yes, we all like unique shit, right? We want something special, something rare. Well, you already got the most special, rare thing that you will ever own or possess, which is you. So why not unveil that shit, unwrap it, take it out the box, get to know it. Do what your heart sings. Do what your soul sings. And when you do that, you would find yourself unbelievably happy and fulfilled. All by unveiling and unleashing the real you. Now, for some of you, you can come out the closet like, bam, butt ass naked. Here I am. Take me. But some of you, it will be a process. It will be a journey. And that is okay also. But as long as you're embarking on the journey of the real you, don't question you. Don't doubt you. Tell you, come out. It's your time. And the real you would appreciate you so much and will invite so many opportunities and blessings to you. So people have coping strategies. Yes, they have coping strategies. People turn to their phones as a coping strategy. Yeah, they turn to their phones for a coping strategy. They send text messages. They go on social media. They drop people a message just to make any type of connection to work through that extreme period of loneliness. That seems very sad to me. Very crippling and very sad. How can we have so much around us and be so depleted and lonely? It blows my mind of how fearful we are. Why be scared? So what, someone doesn't like you? It's okay. For one person that doesn't like you, you'll have 5 others who will appreciate you for what you are. But if you don't try, you will never know. If you don't show, you will never know. They said, when you engage in mindless chit-chatter to lessen the amount of time spent alone, that mindless chit-chatter, you actually think you're doing something. You're actually making it worse for yourself. And I know that's not what you want to hear. Because while you're having this mindless chit-chatter, you are hoping and wishing and praying that somewhere in that conversation, you guys connect, you hook, you see a similarity. Something strikes you with a fucking lightning bolt. Anything, any type of miracle that make this conversation connect. And each time you have this mindless chit-chatter, the connection never happens. And you leave more depleted, more lonely, and more sad because that hope, wish that you had for that miraculous connection, it never comes true. It never comes through. It never comes through. Now imagine how people who are disabled, hearing issues, sight issues, they can't walk. Imagine what they feel like. This is people who supposedly have everything together. But imagine someone with a vision issue. They're deaf. They're blind. They can't walk. They're missing a limb. People judge you. They judge you before they even get to fucking know you. Why get to know you when I can judge you? Right? Because we all live our perfect goddamn lives. Nobody has any skeletons, right? Do you? No, you're perfect, right? Yeah, sure, whatever. We don't want to be around anything that seems different because you fear that it's going to rub the fuck off for you. It's going to expose you. It's going to make you vulnerable. The real you is going to be brought out of the closet, whatever. So we restrict ourselves from connecting from all types of people because they don't fit a mold. The people that you're rejecting because you're judging could be that connection that you're missing. The people who you see who are different for whatever debilitating reason, it could be mentally, emotionally, physically. If you want a connection with someone and you want a quick connection, try connecting to the people that get rejected. Try connecting with the people who get neglected. Try connecting with the people who get hindered. Try connecting with the people who get thwarted. You want a quick, real, genuine connection? You go to the people who are apparently depleted, who are isolated. Connect with them. They will teach you something about yourself, but they will also make you grateful and appreciative. You're lonely because you choose to be lonely. You don't like what the fuck I just said. You're not supposed to, but it's the truth. We have all these people around us. Most of y'all motherfuckers are lonely. But because of your judgmental, hypocritical, double standard, fraud-based goddamn lives, you're not reaching out to talk to people because they don't fit a certain mold. They don't look a certain way. They don't dress a certain way. Why does it fucking matters? You think a connection comes dressed in a motherfucking designer suit? No, that's not how a connection comes. A real connection. So if you get out of your motherfucking heads and get into your heart, get into your soul, you would have more connections. You would have more fulfilling interactions. But your judgments and your fraud cookie cutter lives will keep you hollow, will keep you depleted, will keep you lonely. So now you are at a juncture in the road You can continue on the path that you have been on, or you can take some pearls of wisdom and start making some changes now for a better life. People who say they feel lonely have a higher degree for social empathy. Yes. Social empathy means you care about the well-being of others. You just don't think about yourself. It's very far-reaching. It's very collective. It's very whole. My happiness touches someone else's happiness. Someone else's sadness touches me and makes me sad. They see the interaction. They see the interchange. And they want to benefit. But fraud-based people have a problem with social empathy, right? Because they don't want to be around anyone who's different. They don't want to be around someone who looks weak. No. They'd rather be unhappy with a fake-ass Instagram smile than to have real relationships. But if you really, really, really want to connect with someone, you start going to people who look like they don't have many friends. You speak to them. Not because you feel sorry for them, because you're intrigued by them. And you want to get to know them. You want to understand what life is like for them. You want real connections, you got to do the real motherfucking work. Your mindless chit-chatter is not going to get you what you need. You seek people out who you see have a yearning, a longing, and you start there. And you build from there. And then you will find yourself surrounded with others who actually care about you, the real you, and they don't care to judge you. But as long as you're going around judging other people with your fraud-based you, all you're going to encounter is other people who judge, which is going to make it less likely that you're going to want to reveal the real you. But if you go around people who have to show courage every day because they have no choice, because they're blind, they're disabled, they're deaf, quadriplegic, whatever, you start engaging with people like that, miraculously, you will gain the courage to get to know you and show the real you and move forward in life being the real you. But when you hang around perpetrators and frauds, con men and women, it's going to make your life difficult. So you have a life choice that you need to make. Do you understand? Because people, back to social empathy, people with social empathy, they can actually spot someone who's feeling rejected or excluded. Yeah, they're all around us, but we don't want to see it because we don't want it to rub off on us, right? We don't want to be rejected, so you avoid people who are rejected. You don't want to be excluded, so you avoid people who are excluded. But the fact is, the people you're surrounding yourself with, they're not doing the job for you. So you're better off going to the people who are rejected and excluded because you will have a more fulfilling relationship with those people than the son of a bitches that you're hanging around. People who say they often feel lonely have had lower levels of trust in others and higher levels of anxiety, which makes it harder for them to make friends. Yeah, anxiety and trust. When you're around people who are very harsh and judgmental, it naturally is going to make you very anxious. It's naturally going to make you not want to venture outside your zone. It really is. And then that cycle of your life of loneliness it just snowballs. And if you let it go too far too long, you find your life has passed you by and you are one angry, bitter motherfucker. And then you realize that you wasted so much time and energy on people who basically, they weren't worth your while. They weren't worth your being. But it's too late. So for those of you who still have time and you truly want a deeper connection, start connecting with yourself and start connecting to the people with the people who are being rejected and excluded, because those people 9 times out of 10 are more real than your so-called friends. So if you want to get rid of that void, that emptiness, that feeling, that state of being unfulfilled, do the work so you can reap the benefits. Do the work. Say hello to you. Befriend you. That will be the best gift that you can give yourself in this lifetime. I'll speak to you all next week. Are you disappointed this has come to an end? Well, it doesn't have to. Reach out and let me know what you think about this episode and my podcast. You can try and slide into my DM, but I will kick your ass out. So I suggest you hop into my DM on Instagram at Difficult and Demanding or Twitter at Mrs. D&D, or leave a comment on one of my posts. Now give. My episode links to friends, family, associates, frenemies. Hell, give it to your enemies. Actually, I don't give a damn who you give it to. Just give the shit to people and bring laughter to others and show your love for this podcast. If you need me, and we know you do, you can find me on Instagram at Difficult and Demanding. Episode 52 is here on November 16th, 2018 from the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast.